Well, we have been worried over the last couple of weeks in particular, and we have had intense negotiations with host governments of refugee communities to ensure that a lifeline of services to those communities is maintained, while governments, of course, have to take for restrictive emergency measures. So I am worried that these humanitarian spaces would shrink if we would see more important numbers coming forward with regard to infection rates, in particular within refugee communities.
Well, Matt, as you know, funding millions of refugees does have a serious cost, and host nations like Lebanon, Turkey, and Jordan have been bearing the brunt of that shortfall, particularly with the Syrian refugees, for years now. On average, the Red Cross gets their funding, or at least over the last 5 years, from global governments, and that's been about 84% of their overall budget. But with so much weighing on global economies at this point with regards to coronavirus and its fallout, I asked Peter Maurer just how worried he is about making up that shortfall. Listen in.
Well, it's difficult to say yet what COVID will do in the long term. In the short term, I think we have seen quite an important mobilization. Governments are focused on COVID-19. A lot of what we are delivering in fragile contexts is immediately relevant to either preparing, preventing, or fighting COVID-19. So over the last couple of weeks, we have seen certainly an interest of donors coming to the table, stepping up their funding and supporting our work. I am, though, concerned that when I see what governments are spending in order to save their economies, to respond to COVID within their own context, that many of our donors have been affected by COVID. Many have increasing bills in their budgets to look for their own people. So there is an expectation that funding will become very problematic towards the end of the year or even in 2021, while at the present moment we are still living on humanitarian budgets which have been approved before COVID-19 hit many of the donor countries. So we are quite anxious to see what is happening. That's even more difficult to imagine. As we all know, we suspect that COVID-19 will affect some countries in Africa, in the Middle East, on the Southern Hemisphere overall, maybe more heavily in the future.